one that will be interesting to see how they replace is Carlos Santana. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? I mean, he was an extra bat. He's an aging DH. He had a decent year. Certainly he bounced back here and had a couple of big home runs. But I do think they're going to miss some of that leadership.
Well, if you listen to the way DePoto and Service talked about him, it doesn't sound ridiculous.
No, I think they're going to miss a little of that. I mean, he showed up here and brought a different element to the team. He brought some fun factor. He's loose. He understands it, right? Remember, we had yesterday we had Tom Verducci on talking about Kelenic, and he sort of used the phrase "try too hard," and I put that in air quotes because I don't think he was saying there's no such thing, and I don't think he was putting him down or anything like that. But I think what he was saying is, when you've got some guys that are that intense, sometimes you got to balance it out with some dudes who are just kind of loose. And it seemed like Santana brought out some of the loose sides of the guys on that team. They had fun. They celebrated after the games. They did all the things that made us kind of fall in love with them and made them fall in love with each other over the course of last year. So if that's what you learned last year and that guy has now moved on, how do you take that this year and build off of it and maintain it even without one of the ringleaders? How do you change? And this is one of the things I want to ask Scott when we're down there next week and have an opportunity to chat with him. How do you build on that, right? How do you take some of the successes you've had getting to know, guys to know each other in these meetings and combine it with some of the fun factor that somebody like Carlos Santana brought to the team last year and make that work without Santana back for another season? They didn't replace that necessarily. Maybe that'll be Colton Wong. Maybe that'll be Teoscar Hernandez. Maybe Julio takes on such a big role as he grows into it even more so that you don't need that anymore. Well, maybe they'll go trade for Santana in July again.
Maybe some of those guys feel more comfortable this year. I think as a rookie or a younger guy, you feel like you kind of have to earn that, that right to maybe be a little more relaxed and fun around the team, whereas otherwise people are going to be like, I think I remember someone joking that Logan Gilbert was getting too relaxed around them, and they were going to have to put him in check his first year.
I don't know if we get more of those Logan Gilbert, Cal Raleigh trying to read lips things. I'm all in on that.
And then I think Suarez is obviously pretty fun.
Yeah, so good. So let's hope that they're able to pull some of that together. I do think they're missing some of that leadership. I do think that was an important factor, kind of where they got last year. But you know what? A season is so long, and there's so many comings and goings over the course of it. I mean, we've even talked a couple of times about the importance of Justin Upton last year, who certainly wasn't there when the season began, only was there for a couple of weeks, but by all accounts played a major role in how the team acted and how they handled their own business last year. What did I hear? I think I remember the line. We've heard this a couple times, but my understanding is that after a loss or whatever, Justin Upton addressed the team. I think Jerry might have even told us this last year and basically said, hey, you guys are loose in the clubhouse. You guys are loose and have fun together off the field. How are you going to do that on the field? How are you going to do that during the game? How are you going to take that same approach to the game? And it seemed to work because obviously we started to see that more and more. Certainly winning helped. Going on a 14-game heater, that certainly helps as well. But, some of the veteran presence that they got later in the year from Justin Upton and Carlos Santana certainly seemed to matter. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Scott about the leadership on this team and how it shines through this year. Is J.P. Crawford able to take on more of that? Is Eugenio Suarez able to take more of that on? Does it need to come from Julio Rodriguez as their best player? Will we see more from a Cal Raleigh as he grows into it and becomes more comfortable and we see more of his talkative, fun side? Maybe all of those things go down, but yeah, as you think about a baseball team, we've spent most of the offseason talking about why didn't they acquire this? Why didn't they acquire that? And I'm not saying that there's not room for that kind of talk. There is. But the flip side of it is they're intact. They're stable. There's an element of these guys just all being together for another year to build on those relationships, to build on that shared experience. And then as J.P. Crawford told Shannon yesterday, to desire more, to want more than they accomplished last year,
And
which was
having
good,
gotten
but
that-
not enough.
Well, and having gotten that all-important playoff experience. We heard a lot last year that most of these guys haven't been there.
Mm-hmm. Now almost all of them have at least some. And it wasn't like a quick one and done in Toronto. They won those 2 games. They came back here. They played a home game in Seattle. They lost to the Astros, but were this close to winning all 3 of those games. It should burn a little bit. It should be a little painful. You want to hear them saying that. Not that it was devastating and they went into a 4-month stupor, but that it hurt, that they weren't satisfied, that it was a great start, but that this year is about even more than that. And I honestly believe this team is going to take that seriously. I do think that there is a sense that the mission is still incomplete. And I may come back to that phrase again, that the mission is still incomplete. They started it last year. They achieved a portion of it last year. They accomplished quite a bit last year. But your mission was not to break the drought. That was a step along the way. Not a baby step, a big, significant step. But it was just a step. The goal is to win the World Series. Maybe it happens in 2023, 24, 25. I don't know when it comes. But that's still the goal. And what you accomplished last year was great. It's not little. It's not small. It's not a baby step along the way. But good for them. Good for them talking about what they need to do, not just what they did, because ultimately their mission is incomplete until they go advance even farther to the World Series and eventually win that sucker.